Welcome to the Illuminate Podcast, an internal podcast for employees of Ep55, where we shed light on the people and roles within our organization. I'm your host, Sue Ellen Mueller. Let's face it, 2020 has not been the best year. It's been filled with chaos and fear and uncertainty. And as a global society, we've come to realize that we can't just be content to live our own lives, but it is well past time for us to take into account all of those around us and how our actions or lack of actions affect others. I've read that 2021 will be the year of humanity, and while we can only hope that's the case for our world, I've seen clear evidence that as a company, TechnipFMC is doing its part to make sure that we all feel included, safe, and cared for at work. Our colleagues in India, for example, are taking action to increase the psychological safety of employees. Niranjan Desai, Senior Manager for HR in India, tells us that following a regional employee engagement survey done in late 2019, his team found a direct correlation between job satisfaction, trust in one's manager, and productivity. With that in mind, they conducted a course for managers and offered up one-on-one developmental coaching. It's been a few months since they started this journey, and he tells us all about the results they're seeing and what they hope to accomplish in the future. Here we go. Hi, Niranjan. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Suella.
Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. You just recently did an engagement survey with your team. Why did you deploy this survey? What did you find out?
Well, we are an organization that listens to its employees. Now, to measure how we are doing well on our intent, we ran an employee engagement survey in December 2019. The results were based on variables such as team identification, leadership quality, the job and the career satisfaction, and empowerment. When we reviewed the results through various slices of data, overall we found that we scored well in some areas and, as expected, received a few areas of improvement. As a next step, we decided to analyze the survey results further through parameters such as performance, tenure, gender, and proactivity ratings. Now, let me share a few highlights with you of the survey and the results. So we found that 75% of our employees love their job, yet only 40% that said that they found their careers between satisfied to highly satisfied. On similar lines, over 80% believed that their jobs were meaningful and were increasing their competence, yet rated their autonomy and impact to be less. Now, despite loving their jobs, finding it meaningful and competent, there was scope for improvement in the trust and fairness indexes that employees rated their managers at. The correlations between job and career, meaning and impact, and competence and autonomy were worth deep diving into further, is what I felt. When we plotted all our scores, the following correlations came out. Higher trust in managers correlated with higher job satisfaction, and therefore this could contribute to higher performance. Finding meaning and impact in job showed links to managers creating an environment involving fairness, transparency, and ability to admit failures. And finally, leader-member relationship quality had a significant contribution to reducing the turnover in tension. Collectively, these are derivatives of a concept called psychological safety.
Did you find through this survey that it makes a difference in productivity if employees feel safe at work?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because psychological safety is, essentially the ability to be and show oneself without fear of negative consequences to self-image, status, or career. People feel safe in situations in which they essentially trust their environment. That includes their managers and co-workers. And one of the terms that is often used in organizations these days is employee engagement. Now, the way I look at employee engagement is it's an environment where I can be myself and I can express myself. These are the essential ingredients of employee engagement. Now, our survey studied the work environment very deeply, and we conclude that a psychologically safe work environment that can lead to building trust, finding meaning, and seeing impact significantly contributes to improving the leader-member relationship, and that yields in better productivity, to answer your first question. But I will also illustrate this further through some additional data points. The survey results show us that teams with higher trust and fairness ratings actually showed higher instances when we got to identifying top talent a few months back through the Talking Talents exercise. The data suggests that over half our top talent in technology belong to teams whose managers were rated high on trust and fairness, and managers who were focused on empowerment. When I interviewed these managers about how they do it, three themes came out consistently. First, these managers welcomed free expression of ideas consistently as a matter of routine and as a team culture. Second, they were very comfortable with their people talking about failures. And third, and the last one, they had personal leadership styles that were predictable, consistent, and non threatening.
All of these traits that these managers possess, are they something that people can learn, or does it come natural for some managers?
But I do believe people can get better, honestly, at anything that they choose to get better at. But in context of creating a psychologically safe environment, what we attempted as part of our 1 year journey after the initial assessment was done through the engagement survey is that we recently ran a leadership course where participants were invited to design frameworks that could lead to more safety at the workplace. And I think that's a great question, because this course that we designed was essentially to help managers who wish to do better in terms of building psychologically safe workplaces. The modules imparted practical know-how on how to manage interpersonal relationships, how to identify group dynamics, how to enhance leadership styles, and an essential part of it was also how do you conduct team norming exercises. Now, if we look at the Technique FMC leadership model, it asks us to lead with authenticity and respect in order that it leads to employee engagement and further leads to employee giving their best. Now, that's the people dimension of the leadership model, which we try to focus on through our leadership course. Frankly, Suella, today's world, howsoever uncertain, continues to remain heavily interdependent. Learning to differentiate avoidable failures from intelligent failures was another takeaway of our leadership course.
What can other employees begin to incorporate in their own teams to encourage a safe environment? Do you have suggestions for that?
Sure. So I think for employees and leaders alike and who wish to create psychologically safe environments, I would say, firstly, stick to our core values and foundational beliefs framework. These are very powerful aspects of culture, and I think they establish the boundaries in which we are expected to operate. Sticking to these norms, I think, makes it easy for us to work with each other. Secondly, create a climate where people can speak freely, not only to their leader, but also to co-workers. Playfulness, non-defensive expression are visible signs that this is working. Last but not the least, destigmatize failure. If we are afraid of failing, we will just not get anywhere. There's a good reason why they say that failures are the stepping stones to success. I know it's a cliche, but I think it's true.
It's been a couple of months since you've done the leadership class. Have you seen a change in people's behavior as a result of this class?
Yes, indeed. So it's been a few months since we ran the leadership course. Apart from what we have been teaching in classrooms, one of the things that we have heavily focused on is coaching and mentoring. And there are three interventions that we focused on. One is reverse mentoring. The other is peer mentoring. And the third one is getting an external coach who specializes in improving team cultures. Even before we get to the external coach bit, reverse mentoring and peer mentoring is something that we recommended, and we've seen some progress that has been happening already at the workplace. There are testimonials from employees that indicate that some positive changes are already occurring at the ground level. Similarly, the assigned coach that has been helping our managers to navigate through the changes they would like to accomplish. The feedback from that coaching program has also been positive. At the same time, I'm mindful that a behavioral change or change of any kind is a time-bound exercise. So there is a plan after the end of this year, perhaps early next year, to do another survey and really look at what improvements have been made in our management function. And then we would definitely like to compare our 2019 results with our 2020 result and look at areas that have experienced change. But the journey doesn't end there for us, because we would like to continue with these interventions through 2021. And for that, we will be working closely with our learning organization on various modules that exist in iLearn, and we will try and look at using them for our 2021 plan.
In this world where emotional stability is just a thin line, it's nice to know that we work in a place where we can have emotional stability within the workplace, because we spend so much time at work. So thank you for doing that for the company. What am I not asking that I should be asking you?
Well, Suella, you've been thorough in your line of questioning. Thank you for your interest in this topic. I will only end by saying that for any organization, differentiation is a strategy that it undertakes to change from good to great. A psychologically safe workplace will be a huge differentiator for any organization that wants to succeed, especially in the new normal that we are now adapting to. Many leaders across the world are actually making this part of their personal brand statement, and that's encouraging. And therefore, I look forward to us creating and enhancing the psychological safety at our workplaces. And I'm quite excited to be a part of this.
Well, I'm going to look forward to following you on this journey as well and seeing where this takes the rest of the organization. So thank you so much for being on the podcast with us.
Thank you so much. Once again, it was my pleasure.